very briefly to the YouTube guys. So we are live. Hello guys from YouTube. This is an immersion about traveling. Today we're going to talk about travel. This is not an English class, all right? I'm not a teacher. We're just three people that like to learn English and share our knowledge, all right? So if you guys don't know anything, or if you guys have questions about something, just ask. Or if you guys see that I am making some mistakes, please correct me, because I love to learn new words, or I love to be corrected to improve my skills. All right. So let's start. I'll send you guys the questions, and let's start with question number 1. Azael, can you please read and answer the question?
All right, let's see it. Okay. What are some of benefits are traveling, and how do these benefits differ depending on the type of travel you engage in? Well, for me, there are a lot of benefits to travel. Yeah. One of these is basically it open your mind for other cultures and people, especially languages. For example, majority of times, the people learn a language or for be a better professional or travel. In this case, travel, it'll be very good for they. Yeah, in my case, I'm learning English to do an exchange and do more, especially in Canada. It's be extremely necessary to do it.
Nice one. Thank you, Azael. What about you, Quirino?
I agree with the said. There are a lot of benefits when you take a trip. I think mainly the language is one of those benefits. But I think in my view as well, I could say maybe the future in general. Maybe when you have take a trip in mainly another country, like I don't know, a country totally different than us, Brazil, South Korea, United States. I don't know, maybe the culture, the people are more polite than our people. Maybe the people open the door and you say thank you, and little things different than our culture. It's you learn a lot with the trips, and obviously the language as well. Maybe exchange, you do the exchange, and I think that's it, the benefit. And depending on the travel you gain, yeah, I think it differ. Maybe if you take a trip in Argentina and you maybe Paraguay, Argentina, and you take a trip in like Canada, like as I said, it's totally different. The culture, the language, and I think it's very different.
Nice. And I would add that there's a difference between you traveling to some place like to do an exchange, like Azael is trying to do, right? So he's gonna spend like, I don't know, a year in Canada, and he's gonna meet people and really know the behavior, like Gabriel said. But if you travel to some place just to know the place, just to tourist, it's not the same. You know the people, you know the culture, but not very deep, you know. You don't how can I say that? You don't spend enough time with the people to know their culture. All right, Quirino, what about second question?
Okay. Number 2. How has the pandemic impacted the travel industry, and what change do you think will be permanent moving forward? I don't know if I have proper to talk about this question, but I think the health in general, to me, and because I don't do a lot travel, and I don't know.
Didn't you heard about the packages that people bought in Hotel Urbano when the pandemic came and they couldn't travel, or that travel agencies, CVC, you know?
No,
No?
no.
Well, I can say that for me here in Viçosa, my city, the travel agencies closed in the pandemic because they ran out of things to do, right? People could not travel, could not tourist. And the packages that people bought, to travel, I don't know, for 7 days in some place with everything costed, the packages were like postponed. So people started traveling in 2022 instead of traveling in 2021 or 2020. So that was the impact for me. And what changes do you think will be permanent moving forward? I cannot think of anything right now. Azael, do you wanna go for this one?
Of course. About it, probably the people can make sure themselves with disease and other things. The impact of pandemic was extremely bigger. Yeah, you know. And in my case, I don't travel with airplane, but for other experiences of people that I know was, well, so very big. For example, some weeks ago, my uncle traveled to Santa Catarina. Yeah, he traveled to Santa Catarina in 2020, 2026, 2026. Yeah, and if you compare these years, well, it's so different, the impact of pandemic. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, it's a nice point. People will be more aware if they are healthy to travel, if they are not compromising other people's health. That's a good point. All right. I think another thing that changed in the travel industry are the laws. The laws that, how can I say that? The laws regarding the pandemic, so I don't know if we had any law that abrangia some case of pandemic, because we never had this before. So now we know that it can happen, and we can write this like, in case of pandemic, this will happen. In case of pandemic, we will not refund you your plane ticket, for example. All right, question number 3, Azael.
All right. Number 3. What are some of the most popular tourist destinations around the world? And why do you think people are drawn to these places? Well, there are a lot of things, but one of these is the moves. For example, New York. New York is a tourist place, and a lot of moves show it. And moves of Hollywood, Spider-Man, and so many. And it can be influenced the people to do these places. Yeah, probably the beauty for now nature or jobs, another example. But this example is not good. Paris. Currently, Paris is not a good place to visit. I don't know if you know, but Paris, there are a lot of homeless, and currently it's a danger place. It's a little complicated to speak. It's a detail hard, but that's it.
Yes, Paris is going through the, how can I say, the strike, you know, for the people who, the cleaning service is going on a strike in Paris. So I don't know if you guys saw all the trash on the street. Do you guys know about that? Okay, no, yes. All right. And
Excuse me?
yes.
Including their other example, Toronto. Currently, Toronto, it's a little similar to Paris, but not so bad if you compare. And in Toronto, there are a lot of homeless too, and the services, especially the subway of Toronto, is very bad. I saw some videos of Rafael Scapel. He's a YouTuber that speak of other countries, and he said that Toronto has been past a third. How can I say? And basically, it's the similar to Paris. Yeah, decline service and in other drugs. The government of Toronto, or better, the province of Ontario, in general, Canada, has been liberado the use of drugs.
Yes.
Yeah, but not the how can I say it in English? Drogas leves, sim, drogas pesadas.
Got it. I didn't know that Canada was like that. And I didn't know that Paris had a lot of homeless people. I just thought that you were talking about this cleaning service strike and the thing with the Macron, you know, the politician from France. But good to know. I didn't know that Canada had this much, not Canada, Toronto. I didn't know that Toronto had this much of homeless people. All right, Quirino, what about you? Question number 3.
Yeah, I think beyond this place, in my view, maybe Disney in Orlando. I think it's one of the most places in the world that people choice to have to take a trip. And maybe not, but mainly because the prices when you have a kid, you want like to, I don't know, to show this kind of thing to our kid, because they are your son, your kid, your child probably watch a lot of moves that Disney do this kind of move. And I think it's doesn't only a kid, but I have a maybe I didn't I wouldn't say a dream, but I would like to visit this Disney, because there I love Simpson, and this that there's I don't know, a place about Simpson inside the Disney, and a lot of movies as well. And I think that's it. And about New York as well, like as I was said, because for that reason the moves that a lot of moves are doing and inside New York, into New York, and talking about New York as well. And I think I maybe I remember right now, Esqueceram de Mim. It's a good move about New York. And talking about trash in Paris and New York, there are a lot of missing mouse, I don't know, rat.
What?
Mice.
Say it again.
Mice.
Oh, yes, mice,
mice
like
mice.
ratos. All right.
Yeah, mice.
Nice.
And I think that's it.
Yes, when you said that you didn't have a dream to go to Disneyland, but you would like to go, I always had this kind of I always thought that this was for kids, but then my friend went to Disneyland and she told me that everything there is magical, you know, the all of the buildings in the park are made in somehow that you can always see the main castle. Yes, Home Alone. Thank you, Azel. Nice. You can always see the main castle of Disneyland from wherever you are in the park. So I thought that was, I don't know, I thought that was amazing. So since then, I've been thinking about going to Disneyland. All right, guys. Question number 4, Quirino.
Let me see. Number 4. How does travel impact the environment? And what can travelers do to reduce? Number 4, yeah, reduce their impact on the planet. Wow, 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 wow. I don't know. I did only travel inside my state. I don't know, maybe another Rio Sul. But it's a good question. I think our people and finally our culture is a bad culture. And finally, when you try you to visit, you can visit another country, and finally we take our culture, and there's like with trash in the middle of the street. I think I can see it. I can remember right only this right now. And what else? I I can remember.
Me neither. I'm trying to think of something. I mean, I know that impacts the environment. You know, we travel by plane, and
Exactly.
but I don't know how can we reduce that impact? Azael, any thoughts?
Yeah, in reduce in car, and I have an idea. Electric cars or another energies, but in relation airplane, I don't know. It's complicated, but reduce and when the tourists and is in another place, oh, it's easy. Yeah. And for example, Portuguese we said reciclar and a lot of things, but in relation and the way to do, for example, here to Rio de Janeiro, yeah, car, airplane, train. Well, to reduce these gases or other things that can bad to environment, well, it's complicated.
Yes. I think of something, but it's not related to traveling, it's related to tourists. You know, when we go to some place that they, how can I say that, they use animals to give you an tourist experience, you know, like when you go to SeaWorld and they have those whales that do the shows. I don't know if you guys saw a documentary about those whales that they suffer a lot in there. So for me, this is a way that we cannot uh, patrocinar this kind of
Yeah, yeah.
this kind of behavior, this kind of
I
practice, you
got it.
know.
I got it. But I got it. But I understand well. But I would like so much of it. So hard.
Yes, me too.
My wife watches the same documentary, and she isn't go more. No,
Oh, she doesn't want to go.
she doesn't want to go more. Yeah, sorry. But
Oh,
but she will. She
she
will.
will, she will.
Yeah.
I think it's so pretty, but at the same time, I feel guilty because
And I think
it's horrible.
here in my region there's a good problem mainly in the New Year's Eve here in Balneário Camboriú or another beach in Brazil in general. There are a lot of crowd and people sit, get out. Anyway, when the I forgot the word. And when I read in New Year, I could say, and lived a lot of trash and the
Yes.
frozen, and it's very, 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 very problem in the island.
Yes. That's comparing to New York, for example, they have the New Year's passage, you know, from a year to another. They get the streets dirty with trash, I think, but it's not the same of getting the sea and the sand and the beach dirty. So I don't know, it's you're directly impacting the environment. All right, guys. Question number 5. I'm gonna read it. How has technology changed the way we travel? And what are some of the benefits and drawbacks of these changes? Azael.
Well, we know that the evolution of technology had changed our lives. For example, in a classic example, airplane. Yeah, a travel to no, yeah, some centuries ago, um, the travels was due with I don't know the name, but was sometimes caravelas or navios, you know, and but with the evolution of humanity and technology and in the new discoveries during the time, um, the travels had reduced a lot. Yeah, I can travel to I don't know Lisboa, and the travel can during I don't know exactly less one day or 15 hours more or less. Yeah, it's a good evolution and has a lot of benefits. For example, diplomatic travel. You know, for example, the president of Brazil need to do a travel to USA now or more fast as he can. But if it happened a, a lot of centuries ago, it will not possible. Yeah, it's a good evolution, Glory. That's it.
That's a great example. I was thinking about the modern technology, but you went far back and thought about the caravelas and all of those things. Quirino, what about you?
That's a good point. And I think I would say about the means of transport mainly because, like as I said, caravelas and right now we I don't know I wanna go to I don't know the north of Brazil. It's you take a airplane and okay it's very fast and like maybe when you need to rent a car, like I know in the United States there are a lot of electrical car. It's very good as well, and it's very simple. Yeah, yeah. And you with your smartphone you can rent a car. It's very very good. And but to me, the I wouldn't say the most important creation, but I maybe one of the most like GPS. It's very important and to travel. And a drawback, I don't know. Maybe this technology are having an evolution very fast, and like the old people can't to keep yeah, can to keep up this evolution. And I wouldn't say it's a drawback, yeah, but maybe I think can be.
Yeah, it's a good point about old people because it's too much information for them. I don't know if they can keep up with this. 2 days ago, I stopped to think about this because my grandmother, she's very old. She's not my grandmother, she's my tia-avó. And she cannot keep up with the technology. She doesn't have a smartphone. She only has like a home phone, a telephone. And I don't know, she gets very anxious with all of these changes. But an example of how technology help us in traveling, GPS, Kirina told us, when you go into book a flight ticket, a plane ticket, you don't need to call, you just go on your computer and book it. Same for bus tickets. And when you're gonna check in on the airplane or on the bus, you just show your phone and everything is settled. You don't have to go through all of this process to go to the airport and check in the balcony and the balcony there. So it helped. All right. Question number 6. What are some of the cultural differences you might encounter when traveling to a foreign country? And how can you prepare for these differences? Quirino.
Well, maybe I think the country totally different than us. I think I would say again about the countries of Asia, maybe China, Japan, and South Korea, mainly because of her then food. I think it's a good point. And but I think it's about your culture. I think it's very easy to handle because only to I don't know, maybe by your her road, and I think that's it. Unfortunately, I didn't do countries around the world, so I can't really speak a lot of things about this.
You've only traveled in your region.
Yeah,
But do you want to travel to other countries?
Sorry?
Do you want to travel to other countries?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But in my region, I think I would say about another state here near my city, Rio Grande do Sul. There are a lot of different cultures than mine, and when I travel to a state, this is the state, I realize the person is like more closer than our than friends. Yeah, the friends, your family, like because the person like he keep on in a park, I don't know, and sit in around and take a chimarrão, I don't know, and it's like he thing familiar, I don't know, because I realize this povo gaúcho, it's more familiar, so mais familiar, I don't know this.
So they spend more time in family and they are close to the family. They are not so open to new people.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Yeah, I'm like that too. People from Espírito Santo are very close. I don't know why. Azael, what about you?
Well, in relation to this cultural differences, and we has a similar culture. And in Brazil, for example, our neighbors, Colombia, Venezuela, Argentina, Uruguay, etc. But has a lot of countries that hasn't a similar culture with us. And Japan, China, and as Gabriel said, and for you prepare for when you will travel, basically know the culture. Yeah, you do a share with this country, with a culture, with food. You can do it as well. And a lot of things about this country that I wanna travel or live. But for you live in another country is extremely important, and know the language, uh, or know almost the basic. Yeah, but in relation with the travel, you need to know uh, pelo menos o básico.
Nice, nice. Azael, what kind of cultural differences have you searched about Canada? Do you know any?
About Brazil in Canada.
Yes, the difference between Brazil and Canada, since you want to go to Canada, right?
Yeah, is the people. Yeah, the people is more closed. Yeah, and the weather in Canada is majority of country is cold. Yeah, especially in north or in central. Yeah, and in it we have a lot of people that not are can I say, like the Brazilians. Yeah, happy, or no, when I know happy, many Canadians are happy. Yeah, but when I say it, it's not the happy, you know. And well, there are a lot of things. If I will say it, probably die a tempo.
That's okay.
But there
You're
are a lot of things.
the most impact thing that you remember is that people in Canada are more serious, maybe, and in Brazil we are more expensive, I would say, more happy, more cheer. I think that too. I went to Germany when I was younger. I did an internship there, and people were very frowned, you know, their faces were very serious all the time and very, I don't know. In Brazil, we are more open to laugh and to talk with other people. All right, question number 7. Azael, can you please read and answer?
Yeah, 7. Oops. Okay. What role does language play in travel, and how can learning some basic phrases in the local language enhance your experience? For you know a language, for you traveling another country, for example, and we need to know with correct thing, correct objects. Now we are speaking in English right now, and it's a progress. It means we are know with the correct objects, learning correctly. Yeah, it's a progress. And let me see the question 7. And yeah, in relation to the basic phrases, we need to know it for to travel in another country. For example, a good example. Right now, I'm gonna go to Japan. Yeah, I need to know some basic phrases to communicate um, with the people there. For example, with the people of hotel and the probably a tourist place that I want to visit, and um, other place that I want to visit as well. And yeah, that's it.
Yes. Thank you, Azael. Kirino, what about you? What do you think?
I think the person when one to take a trip, maybe I would say United States, for example, and I think to try to memorize some phrases, basic phrases. I think mainly into the airport when you arrive at the airport. I think is very important. Like a simple word, a simple phrase, maybe when you even the immigration, the person asks to you like, can I have your passport? And I don't know, and what I understand, like, I don't know, maybe how many days will you stay here, and things like this I think is very important. And maybe to memorize some phrases, and when you wanna to it, very important. To rent a car as well. Obviously, nowadays we have a translator. It's very important. Technology in this case is very important, but it's very difficult when you have a conversation with like a native person, and it's very hard because you like face to face, and you it's I think it's very like weird to me, and maybe a little like it's a few phrases, isn't a lot of phrases, but a good phrases will help you. I think it's my point of view.
Yeah, it's a good points. And maybe ask for help too. Imagine if you are in danger, if you, I don't know, break your leg, how can you go to the hospital and ask for help?
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good
And
point as well.
I have a trip to Thailand scheduled for the next year, and I am freaking out because I've been wanting to learn some phrases in in the local languages. I know that they speak English, but I don't know if all of them speaks English, so I cannot imagine myself communicating with them another language than English. You know, I have to learn some phrases, especially because it's a country that it's a dangerous country. You know, we have tráfico humano in Thailand. So my parents are freaking out, and I need to learn some of their phrases. All right, guys. Question number 8. What are some of the most memorable experiences you've had while traveling, and how did these experiences impact you? Azael.
For me, the best travel that I do ever is when I go to Guaramiranga. It's a town. Yeah, it's 100 kilometers in Fortaleza, more or less. And well, the best part of it probably is the people there is so different in Fortaleza. It's incredible because if you compare our population Brazil, there are a lot of different people if you compare with other countries. Yep. And in this chow, when I went, I found uh, Germans or almost Germans, Brazilian Germans, and Americans that was nationalists. It was an incredible moment. But there are other. Uh, it's when I go to beach park. It's a famous beach park, or better, it's a famous parque aquático in Ceará. Probably you know it. The famous, one of the most famous parque aquático in Brazil, in probably the world. And I went to beach park in last month, March, and was absolutely incredible as well, because did more than 6 years that I go there. Okay? It's true nostalgia. That's it.
That's great. I've been wanting to know Beach Park. A lot of people told me about Beach Park. Kirino, what about you?
Yeah, I think to me, I I couldn't remember right now. Maybe a memorable travel in my life. Maybe last year, if I'm not mistaken, I did a travel with my wife and my brother and my sister-in-law. Here, near me and Beto Carreiro to meet the. It's a good travel. I I I visit this place another times, but to me this time that I went to last year, it's was better because I went alone. I would say alone because I went the driver and my car, and the another times I traveled with my family, my mother and my father, and this time I like I was like taking care, yeah, taking care my family here. I think it's correct. We don't take care, yeah. And I think it's never and talking about the culture and a positive impact. Like I I don't remember because it's the same people, Brazilian people, and like to me, I don't I can remember.
Yes, people in Brazil are very similar in general. So, all right, guys, we have more time to do some other questions. Question number 9. How has social media changed the way we approach travel? And what are some of the positive and negative effects of this? Azael.
Well, in fact, the internet has changed everything about the travels. Probably you know a lot of channels that speak about the travels. Yeah, and the positive effects about it is that people can literally travel other places and with no get out go at home. It's incredible, yeah. And the negative effects is a little complicated to say, but I would say probably the people jealous. Yeah, I don't know if you know this event, but probably you know people that are jealous, and this people that are jealous, and well, no, there's other thing complicated so much. Huh?
That's okay. Take your time. You got the wrong question?
Excuse me?
What did you say? You said it was the wrong thing. Did you got the wrong question?
Yeah, I would say that the people can, if you not make sure themselves, and can be se contaminar com isso. For example,
Yes.
a person that see another person travel, yeah, and see, and if you not make sure, and when he or she see it, we can see a bad feel in your heart. Yep. Sometimes I feel it. It not, but it's a little strange because when I learn English more and more, I don't feel unmoored. It's like, and when I learn English, it's like I travel in another countries. It's a strange feel, but at the same time, incredible.
Nice. Nice to hear that. Yes, social media impacts us a lot in this area of comparing ourselves to other people, right? That's very heavy. Kirino, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think, like Adele said, a lot of people like me uh, see my friends travel around the world and see beautiful places, and it's a good point because you know new places. Maybe I need to know this place. I need to visit this place, and I think that, but there's a problem as well. Mainly, I think in the influencers, yeah, influencers that you follow. Obviously, the influencers show only the good things about the place, like New York. Oh, New York, there are a lot of stores and like the Manhattan. I don't know the main street. I forgot the name is
Times Square.
Times Square, yeah. And when you arrive at the New York, it's totally different because there are a lot of trash and the traffic is very, very uh, interessante. I forgot the word.
Stressful.
Stressful. Yeah, yeah. And the Times Square, there are a lot of characters and characters, yeah. And take a picture with these characters, and it's very hard because you need to pay after you take a picture, and if you don't pay, this person start to scream with you and maybe call the police, and very, 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 very difficult. The influencers doesn't, the most of the time it doesn't show this kind of thing, and I think it's a bad point about the Instagram, sorry, social media.
Yes. I was gonna say something. Oh yes, in Salvador, Bahia, the harassment of these people that we take pictures with, it's, I don't know, I cannot compare because I've never went to New York, but the harassment is the same. You take a picture with Baiana and she starts charging you for the picture even though she didn't told you before that you need to pay. So I went to Salvador and I was like, oh my God, I love the place because it's beautiful, but I hate the people because they want to charge you for everything. They want to call you to convince you to eat in their restaurant. I don't like that. I like to make my own decisions. Let's go to question number 10. I think we have more time. What advice would you give to someone who's planning their first big trip? And what are some of the most important things to keep in mind when traveling? Azael.
Well, firstly, first person wanna travel, he needs prepare, especially if he go. But I have one question for you guys. And do you go another country ever?
If we want to, or if we already had?
Want?
Kirin, do you want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have some place in mind, like other than Disneyland?
Yeah, United States in general.
Nice.
For that reason, I speak a lot about United States because I watch a lot of videos on YouTube and I follow a lot of influencers on Instagram.
Nice. For me, I would like to go to Rome. I don't know, it's like a dream to go to Italy and to know all of Italy. So it's a dream that I share with my mom, so maybe someday. What about you, Azael?
Well, I and to live in another country, not exactly Canada, but when I finish my in Uruguay or another country in Latin America, Costa Rica. Of course, these countries are in 100% developed countries, but it's good countries to live. If you prefer developed countries like Sweden or parts of Sweden, France, Portugal, or Spain, or United Kingdom as well.
Nice. Yeah, there are some good places here in South America. Uruguay is one of them. And not only to live, but to visit. I think it's a good place to explore. All right, guys. I'm sending you guys this survey link on the chat. You know what to do with that. Wish you guys a good week. And that's it. I hope you guys travel a lot. Bye-bye, guys.